Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Balancing Act. We're so glad you joined us. I'm Julie Moran.
And I'm Olga Villaverde.
You know, some days are for laughing, some for celebrating, and some for inspiration, transformation, and change.
Today, we're doing option number 3. In fact, I feel the call to be the change coming on. Am I right?
You are so right. There are some initiatives that are personal, some that are local, some that are international, and then there are some that are mind-blowing in their potential and their outreach.
We've got all of those bases covered today, starting with something that seems like a small thing until you really need it.
Yeah, we're talking about man's best friend and the need to protect our pets so that if anything happens, they won't ever be far away from safety.
This is a great segment. The Balancing Act starts
right now.
They're your four-legged family members. They're literally like your children. You couldn't dream of living without them. That's why you need to do everything you can to protect them. Thanks to technology, there are powerful tools to help us do just that. For our kids, for example, it's called an Amber Alert. For our pets, it's called a microchip. And here with some vital, important information on microchips for all your pet parents out there is veterinarian Christine Royal. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Good morning. Very good.
You know, I think it can happen to anyone. We have a little Ruby, and one day, you know, we didn't find her. It was 30 seconds of panic. She was just down a few doors from the home. It happens.
It's easy, and pet owners don't always realize that it only takes a couple of seconds for a pet to run out an open door, or for the kids to be playing in the backyard and the gate comes open, or to have a serviceman over to the house and they forget to put the lock on the gate.
And how many, I don't know if you have this number, do go missing?
It's 1 out of every 3 pets will become lost at some point in their lifetime.
And how many are actually found?
Greater than 90% of pets that do not have a microchip will never be reunited with their family.
And that microchip has the information needed?
It is basically a forever bond, or a permanent link from that pet to that pet family. The big key is that once the microchip is implanted, the pet owner needs to go home and register that microchip in the database.
Let's talk more about how it's done. Ruby she does not have a microchip, I'm going to tell you right now, because the first instinct I get is, oh my gosh, is it going to hurt her? Is it difficult? So you tell me it's simple. Show me.
I hope that maybe after this,
I'm going to put one in Ruby. Okay.
Absolutely. Have you taken Ruby to go get vaccinations at the veterinary clinic before?
All the time.
Okay. So it's very simple, very similar to what you would do with the vaccine, except this is actually placed in between the shoulder blades. It doesn't require any sedation, any anesthesia. It's not a procedure. What your veterinarian will do will just lift the skin in between the shoulder blades, implant the chip. It takes a matter of seconds. And then the veterinarian will give you, as a pet owner, this card. This card is going to have the microchip number of what is in your animal.
Okay.
And then on the back is directions for registration of the microchip.
Which would be your information, phone number, things that someone needs to know to get in touch with you.
It's going to have your address, your email address, your phone number, and the key here is that you want to make sure that information stays up to date all the time. So if you happen to move, or your contact information changes, then you need to go into the database and make sure it's up to date.
And I wanted to show our viewers, and I'm going to by using my nail, look how tiny this is. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more. Explain this to me.
So the microchip is about the size of a grain of rice, and that's why whenever it comes to implanting the microchip, it's so easy. It only takes a couple of seconds.
So doctor, if a pet goes missing, let's say, God forbid, but if it does, and somebody finds the pet, then what?
They should take the pet to the closest animal control area, shelter, or veterinary clinic. One of the staff members will simply scan the animal. A 15-digit code will come up. They can then go to homeagain.com, enter in the chip number. They can then contact the pet owner, and through that number, you're able to reunite the pet with the pet family.
It's so easy.
It is, and to date, we've had over 1 million reunions.
Wow. Now, again, I told you Ruby's not, microchipped. I just made it a verb. And is she too old?
No. Animals are never too young or too old to be microchipped.
So a puppy, even an elder dog, that's maybe even 10.
Absolutely.
Do you have a website for our viewers who would like more information?
It's homeagain.com.
Homeagain.com. Thank you so much. I am going to put one on Ruby. I do appreciate it because it really does make the difference. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
And if you'd like more information, again, it is homeagain.com, or just go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
There was a time when our educational foundation was defined by language and literature, arts, and traditional sciences. But in today's world, having computer science skills is equally critical for success later in life. Problem is, only 1 in 4 high schools here in the U.S. actually teach computer science, and that leaves millions of young people at a disadvantage. Thankfully, Microsoft is out to change that. Yvonne Thomas is the Director of Global Programs for Microsoft Philanthropies and leads YouthSpark. I want to welcome you to the show. It's so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So why is it so important for young people to have computer science skills in today's world?
Well, as we know, most young people today are digital natives, which means they know how to use technology. One of the things many of them are not getting the opportunity to do is learn why technology works the way it does, and most importantly, how to create with technology. We know that even if a young person gets the opportunity to try computer science, they build really important skills like computational thinking and problem solving that any employer is going to want them to have no matter what industry they decide to go into. And then if they do choose that computer science is something that they want to pursue, there's lots of opportunities out there for them. There's about 1.2 million expected job openings by 2020 in computing, but only about 40% of American graduates will be able to fill those jobs. So there's going to be a huge demand.
Well, when Microsoft looked at access to computer science technology, who was underserved and why?
What we saw was that even though women are represented in about 56% of professional careers, professional occupations in the U.S., they represent only about 26% of computing occupations.
Wow.
And as you start to look at women of color, those numbers are even smaller, almost always in single digits in the computing industry.
This isn't just an American reality. It's a worldwide reality, correct?
That is correct. Depending on the country, some of the pieces vary, but women are underrepresented across the industry.
Tell us about YouthSpark and how this all came about.
YouthSpark was created in 2012, and we looked at what we could do as a technology company to make sure that young people around the world were getting access to the skills that we know are most important. And the last year, we've really focused that on computer science education. Not only we want all kids to get that opportunity to really learn some of those skills, learn how technology works, we want them to get some of the really important skills that come by learning computer science, things like computational thinking, problem solving. And then if young people decide that they wanted to pursue computer science as a career, that's great, but that isn't sort of our only goal. We want to make sure that this becomes as broad as something like biology.
So what kinds of opportunities and programs does YouthSpark offer here in the U.S. and internationally?
We do a number of things through YouthSpark. Some of them we run on our own. There's a program called TEALS, where we bring technology industry experts into classrooms and they team teach computer science around the U.S.
Yeah.
We partner with leading nonprofit organizations like Boys and Girls Clubs, City Year, Year Up, Code.org, and Girls Who Code, who work in local communities to bring computer science education to students in school and out of school. And we also have some online resources.
Tell us how YouthSpark is addressing those gender-based challenges.
One of the unfortunate things we know about why women don't go into technology is because of the perception challenges. Who belongs in technology, what kind of jobs exist, and women often don't see themselves there and can't imagine that. So one of the things that we've done and we're most excited about is a program that was started by a Microsoft employee. It's called DigiGirls.
Very cool, DigiGirls.
She started it as a volunteer activity during Women's History Month, and it's grown and is now a program that the company runs to help girls get excited about what careers could look like. They're hosted at Microsoft offices, so we bring in girls to Microsoft offices, and they spend a day with women at Microsoft, understanding what their jobs look like, who they are, and what it could be like to work in a technology company.
And I know our viewers, and especially their daughters, and my daughters would love to get a feel for what it's like to be part of YouthSpark's initiative for girls. So let's do that right now. Check this out.
We're here today at a Microsoft YouthSpark event that I actually started out at a few years ago. I wanted to come back today because I felt it was important to pay it forward and get involved with the next generation of coders and future technologists.
Coding's meant a lot to me. It means that I get to take an idea and I get to really work it out and solve a problem. Technology can change the world because it's not just making phones and applications. It's about solving global warming. It's about solving the gas fuel problems, battery problems, problems that can save the world in the future.
Coding is imagination.
Coding changes lives.
Coding is the future.
I want to know, is there a way to assess the success of the program and its global impact yet?
One of the things that we have accomplished is in the last 3 years worked with nonprofit organizations in more than 100 countries.
Wow.
And helped more than 300 million young people find opportunities for employment, education, and entrepreneurship.
It was so great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And now, if you're a teacher, a student, a young person who wants to get involved in computer science, just head straight to Microsoft.com/YouthSpark and you can also find YouthSpark events at your local Microsoft store, or simply log on to thebalancingact.com so you can be the change.
We now continue our 12-part series, Reclaim Your Life. Addiction can affect anyone in life, including the people who dedicate their lives to protecting us. But specialized programs are available to help them overcome their addiction. As I found out when I visited Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, and met the people behind their First Responders program.
The first responders that come here come from all walks of life. They are first responders who are still active. They are first responders who are retired. And there are first responders who unfortunately have created an incredible mess in their lives. We are exposed to so many things that at the time we feel that it's not really hurting us, that's okay. But in the long run, this cumulative effect of exposure to all these horrific things that we see and experience, they do take a toll, no question about it. We either hit the bottle or hit other drugs, and we just die in silence because we don't want anyone to know that we cannot handle it. Problem is that not every first responder is willing and able to say, hey, I've got a problem, I need some help. What makes this program unique here at Transformation is that the kind of approach that we have this holistic, complete approach. It is put together and run by a first responder for first responders.
As a master's level therapist who is also a first responder himself, Carlos Farina is head of the First Responder program at Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida. He knows only too well how the physical and emotional impact of being a first responder can drag a person into a life of addiction. I understand what they do every day is difficult, and that's what I want to hear. What is it that you're helping them through?
We're helping these men and women be able to live fruitful lives, to let them know that they're not alone. As a first responder, we normally don't come in contact with a lot of happy people. They're usually in need of help. And sometimes the scenes are very, very traumatic and very descriptive, horrific in the sense that it's a job that we've got to perform. And so no matter what it is that we're exposed to, we are asked to perform.
I am diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and during my time in the military, there was a lot of stress overseas. You never know what's going to happen. I was in active combat zones during 2 deployments. It carried over when I came out of the military, and I had difficulty adjusting to civilian life. And I've battled with post-traumatic stress now. And I got caught up in a spider web of drugs and alcohol and addiction that I didn't know existed. I didn't know this world at all. And before it was too late, I was stuck.
Carlos, how typical is Brett's story, and how do you help Brett and other clients like him move forward in this journey of healing?
Yeah. Well, that's our goal, our aim with every single one of them. It is to allow them to move forward and get healed. When they walk in through this door in my office, I want them to know that I understand what they're going through. I've been there.
Over the treatment period, each professional at Transformations is focused on one goal: to guide and support first responders on their quest for long-term recovery. Carlos, here at Transformations, there's also specialized programs for your clients. Tell me more about them.
Well, we have, for example, the EMDR, which is the eye movement reprocessing. And basically,
how does that help?
What it does is that through a series of movement of the eyes with the fingers, it reprocesses different thoughts or different traumas and have the individual verbalize. So it's not only just it's the eye movement, it is the verbal presentation, and it's also the mind reprocessing. Another one that I personally use with the first responders is hypnosis. The mind is an incredible piece of machinery, and I think that most people underestimate the power of the mind.
You've been there. You know what these people have been through. Personally for you, how does it make you feel when you know they're saying thanks, I got my life back?
I don't know if I can find the words for that. You know, recovery is not about one big bang, one big thing. Recovery, changing someone's life, is about a lot of little things, but the little things that matter.
I used to think that I would just ignore what has happened to me that I know is affecting me and it will just go away over time, and that's not the case at all. You gotta process these things. You have to talk about them, get them out there, and then you can begin to heal. It's cliche, but there definitely was a transformation.
Transformations offers a way to truly give back to these people who have given so much of their lives to protect us and helps them on a road to success. We hope you'll join us again in our Reclaim Your Life series as we show you how the unique programs offered by Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment help so many people on their road to recovery. Next time, we're going to see how their intensive outpatient program helps build a foundation for living a healthy, sober lifestyle. Remember, for more information, you can go to transformationstreatment.center or our website, thebalancingact.com.
Welcome to my kitchen. This is Quick Bites with me, Chef Ralph Pagano. Today, I want to tell you about an ancient grain that's grown in the USA, and it's called sorghum. Lately, it's been cropping up in a lot more dishes. It has a wonderful neutral taste, so it tastes great with sweet and savory. It's non-GMO, gluten-free, and packed with fiber, protein, and iron. It's lower in glycemic index, so it's suitable for diabetics. It's an excellent substitute for wheat, rice, and dare I even say pasta, and so many more things. Its versatility brings great variety in the kitchen no matter what kind of cuisine you're cooking. Today, right now, I'm gonna make yesterday's sorghum salad. Check it out. You cook the wonder grain, you bag it up, you freeze it, and you take it out whenever you need it. And then you can make rice pudding, check, creme brulee. How about sorghum risotto with shiitake mushrooms and shaved truffles? That sounds good for your kitchen, it's pretty good for mine. And how about this, popcorn, add a little bit of cheddar cheese puff on top of that, and it's delicious. We're gonna make first a broken vinaigrette, right? So you take a little bit of mustard, you drop it into your bowl, drop a little bit of honey in there to whisk together for some sweet. I'm gonna add to that garlic, red wine vinegar, fresh basil, squeeze a lime, give it a little bite, and then I just grab my little olive oil and whisk it together so it comes nice. I'm gonna season with a little bit of salt and little pepper, and then everybody else is gonna come to the party. Who's first? Sorghum. Jumping in right there, taking a swimming around in that vinaigrette, soaking up all that flavor, tasting really good. So sorghum holds the flavor, delivers it to your mouth. Not a lot of calories, but a lot of flavor. In goes the kale, and I think every day you should probably try to eat every color. What do I mean? I got green in the bowl already. How about a little bit of red? How about a little bit of yellow? My friend fennel comes in, he's kind of green with envy. And a little red from the onion makes it nice and bitey. Fold it together. Look how pretty it looks on the plate. To learn all about the versatility of this delicious, nutrient-rich, and gluten-free sorghum, go to sorghumcheckoff.com or visit our website, thebalancingact.com. Remember, this has been a quick bite, but chew slowly.
We want to wish each and every one of you who's trying to beat an addiction, a detrimental habit, we want to wish you the very best, and bravo for making the difficult but important life changes. Transformation is good.
And kudos to all of you who are also out there making such a difference in our world. Go out and find a way to be the change in your world today.
And if you need some inspiration, you know where to find it. Just log on to thebalancingact.com.
And don't forget to always follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
See you next time.
Wardrobe provided by Stage Stories.